So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say a big thank you for allowing the Arkansas Real Estate Commission and Heather Henries, Director Alford, here today, and to opportunity to answer some of these very good questions provided by the GRLA group, and how supportive we are of the GRLA and all the things that ARA does to try to help educate, and this is a part of that, and we are just so excited to play some small role in the partnership of making sure that we help consumers. So thank you very much.
What does the process look like from applying for the test to getting your license? But we both know that that process could very well change by the time we release this video. So instead, we wanted you to talk about the top 2 to 3 mistakes that applicants make that can cause delays in processing, because those tend to stay standard over time. What are things that applicants can make sure they're doing correctly when they submit their applications to help us get those through more quickly?
Number 1 mistake is that the application form isn't complete. It hasn't been signed, or the signature hasn't been notarized, or there are missing pieces of information. Everything on the application form is required. And so every question should be answered. You need to make sure that you've completed all of the forms, signed the forms, and had your signature notarized on the application form itself. The second item is the form of payment. We do require certified funds for application payments, and that means cashier's check, money order, and those have to be signed and completed. If they're not, or if the amount is incorrect, that may be sent back to the applicant for correction, and that delays the application process. The third item is that due to a law change in 2019 or 2021, the background check process has changed, and now we have a portal where applicants can start their background check process once we've processed their application here at the AREC. It's very important that applicants check for emails either from our office or from arkansas.gov with the instructions for completing their background checks, to make sure that they are using the portal and then going to be fingerprinted in a timely manner, so that you're not waiting on your background once you've already passed your test.
What are the top 3 biggest complaints that AREC receives?
We receive a lot of complaints each year. We average about 11 new complaints filed with our office every month. The top 3 complaint issues are property management, whether that's short-term or long-term, property conditions that were not disclosed to a buyer, and also contracts specifically in areas involving repairs, where repairs were requested on an inspection survey addendum, and those repairs either were not done or were not done in compliance with the addendum. For instance, a buyer that requests that a deck be replaced by a licensed contractor, and the deck may be replaced but not by a licensed contractor, and the deck is not up to code. And so in those cases, agents need to pay particular attention to repairs that their seller has agreed to complete, and whether or not they can provide proof that those repairs have been done in accordance with any agreement between the parties.
What is the average time on a complaint being answered?
The average time to file a complaint answer is 25 days. Under regulation, it is actually 20 days that an answer should be submitted to the Arkansas Real Estate Commission, but we allow a little additional time to accommodate the mail service. When complaints are filed and sent to a respondent licensee, they should know that they can contact our office if they have questions about filing their answer or how to get that information to us. A lot of documentation can be emailed, but the actual answer form has to be mailed or dropped off with our office, because there is a signature, and that signature does have to be notarized. When do you have to notify AREC of criminal violations?
So Rule 1016 says that you are required to report within 30 days of pleading guilty or nolo contendere, or being convicted of any crime other than a traffic violation. So that's kind of the rule, is 30 days of conviction, guilty plea, or no contest plea. But there are some considerations around that. If you're a supervising broker, you may have a policy that goes beyond that. You may have a policy that says if you're convicted, or not convicted, if you're arrested or charged, you have to notify me immediately, and I may notify the commission immediately. If you're a supervising broker and you find out that one of your licensees was in fact convicted, you may wish to notify the commission immediately of that conviction. You may not want to wait the 30 days to see if your agent notifies the commission. So it depends on where you're sitting in that equation. But the rule does state that within 30 days of a conviction, a guilty plea, or a no contest plea, the commission has to be notified by the licensee in writing.
How do you handle complaints filed by agents against other agents?
It depends on the nature of the complaint. If it has to do with procuring cause, or if it is a commission dispute, those don't come to us because they're not our jurisdiction. If they are Realtor members, then that would go to the association because it could be a matter for pro standards. But if they are not Realtor members, those are not going to be issues that fall within our jurisdiction. Now, there can be legitimate license law and commission rule-based complaints that are agent to agent, and we will absolutely look into those. But if your agent to agent beef, more or less, has to do with procuring cause or with payment of a commission, that's not going to be an issue for us. That's going to be something that needs to either be settled in the courts or with the association.
Has the AREC ever considered a helpline?
I loved that question. When I read it, my first reaction was, well, that is what we are. We are a helpline. But I certainly wish we had more people to be a helpline, and I would love it if we could staff a call center sort of helpline. So we are constantly thinking of things like that we could do to improve. And I wish that we had unlimited resources to do those things with. But I do want to encourage you all to call us anytime you need anything. Anytime you have a question, give us a call. The commission has been saying this long before I came to work for the commission. We want you to call us before we have to call you. So when you're in the middle of a situation and you're not sure how to proceed, we want you to call us before you take that next step. It's okay to admit what you don't know and ask for help. We would much rather help you on the front end than get involved on the back end when you're kind of in a jam and a complaint has been filed and you might be getting an invitation to come sit down here with us on a Monday morning. So call us anytime and we'll be glad to help you. How often do you do audits or office visits, and how do you determine who to audit?
We do not do as many office visits as we would like to due to staff constraints and time constraints. Right now, we are not conducting as many office visits as we would really like to. In most cases, if a complaint involves property management, an office visit will be conducted. Due to technology, items that previously required an office visit can now be done with a respondent providing documentation electronically to our office, and we can review several transaction files much more easily without actually having to conduct an office visit. In a lot of cases, the determination of an office visit has to do with the severity of the allegations in the complaint, along with the potential for an ongoing harm to the public that we may need to address very quickly, or we may need to just double check that this one transaction that resulted in a complaint is not a pattern of practice.
If you could wave a magic wand and every licensee in Arkansas had to do one thing that you told them to do, what would you tell them to do?
Talk to your client. Talk to the other side of the transaction. So many complaints are filed with our office due to a lack of communication or a lack of timely communication. Making sure that your clients have a realistic expectation of the transaction, sharing timelines with them, making sure that what they believe is supposed to occur in the transaction is either a realistic expectation or is not a realistic expectation. Being upfront and honest with your clients and responding regularly and in a timely manner to the other side of a transaction. Real estate is an industry that is based on interaction and cooperative brokerage. And you have to talk to the other side of the table. You have to share information appropriately and timely to make sure everyone is on the same page.